Welcome to the iMedNet EDC system demo. iMedNet is a zero-footprint software as a service-based platform that is compatible with virtually all major internet browsers available today. iMedNet may be accessed by simply going to www.imednet.com. Here's the login screen, and above the login fields here, you'll see two links. One for self-registration, where the user can define their own user ID and enter information about their user account, as well as a forgot your password link in case users do forget their password. Resetting a password is very simple. All the user needs to do is enter their user ID and their associated email address, and a password will automatically be sent to that email address. So now we will log into iMedNet. And we'll go over some basic navigation information about iMedNet here. So iMedNet, there's a number of things you can see here on the home screen. First, up in the upper right-hand corner, it displays the study name, the username, their role, and links to edit their profile and to sign out. In the top left-hand corner, there's the iMenu. This is where one can access all the different modules within iMedNet. This is controlled by role-based security, so depending on how the roles are configured, users will only see particular modules that they have access to. So here under the iMenu here, we can see they have modules for administration, build, data management, designing, reports, security, things of that nature. Currently logged in as a designer, so I do have access to all of the modules here within MedNet. A nice feature that's currently displayed on the screen right now is the dashboard functionality. These are the little tabs that go across the top of the screen here. And dashboards can be created at a study level for each particular role. And each user may also develop their own dashboard depending on what modules they have access to. Dashboards can encompass a number of different things, such as reports, graphs, tables, listings, to-do listings of that nature. So I'm going to switch roles at this point in time, and we'll do a deeper dive into dashboards a little bit later. We'll switch to the research coordinator role. So here you'll notice that the dashboards did change for the research coordinator. They are only limited to these three dashboards. The patient listing, a to-do list for things that the coordinator needs to follow up on, and the iMenu. We'll start by registering as a subject. So under the iMenu, under the patient listing module, there's a link to register a patient. Now this particular coordinator, my role is set up to have access to 3 different sites. So here you can select the site for which you are enrolling the subject. So this is your data entry screen. It's pretty straightforward. You can enter using your keyboard and tab through the fields as necessary. When edit checks fire, there's a little red icon that displays, what the query message is. So here the screening number must be 3 digits. It must be numeric. Tab through. And you'll notice that the query did disappear. So all of the edit checks run real time during data entry within the iMedNet system. For date fields, there are calendar pop-ups to help aid more visual folks to selecting dates. So we'll do April 1st, and you can select the time they were enrolled at 12:01. And we'll just skip these questions for now and save. So once the enrollment form has been saved, you can notice here at the top, you'll display a patient ID. To navigate to the patient grid, which is where all the CRFs and visits are located for that particular subject, that's simply clicking on the patient ID and the patient grid will appear. So notice that we left a number of fields blank on the inclusion/exclusion CRF, and so the icon here designates red. And if you hover over the icon, this will give you a status. So the record status here happens to be, record contains your errors, shows you when it was last modified, when it was created, and by whom it was created. We'll go ahead and enter the demographics form. I want to show you some of the dynamic edit check capability here within the iMedNet system. So it's simply clicking on the CRF, the demography CRF appears. And again, you'll notice that fields that are required have these icons next to them. The 4th of April, 1980. And notice here for race, we can select multiple races. And if you select other, a dynamic field will appear to specify what race there is for other. If you do uncheck other, then that field does get hidden. Under ethnicity and gender, so same thing here with radio buttons. Selecting female will prompt and add an additional question. Is the subject of childbearing potential? And here we can say no and close out these queries. So let's answer the rest of these here and we can save the page. Notice that when the page has completed saving, those discrepancies did disappear. Now there was an additional question that was added because of this question which wasn't answered, and so we'll go ahead and answer that. Oop, and there's a date. So the 1st of April and save. So notice that because I had previously saved the form, now it's asking for a reason for change. So we'll go back to the patient grid and we'll look at a different type of layout for a form. Let's take a look at the medical history. A lot of times this has multiple logs. So here we can see that there are 3 different sections within the medical history form, and each one has a sub-log that we can enter records for. So here for medical history, we'll add a record, and the data can be entered right on the screen within that log row. Now I'd like to switch roles to a monitoring role to show how query management works and how form approvals occur. So we'll go up here, switch roles to the monitor. Notice again that the dashboards at the top have changed based on the monitor role, and they have their own to-do list, the patient listing, a query report, and they have this adverse events tab. So we'll go to a patient listing. We'll select the patient from here, open them in a new tab, and here we can look at their forms. So let's find a page that has been completed. Let's do vital signs. Visit 3. And in order to create manual queries, let's say this heart rate is out of range, doesn't look right for this particular patient, as it's inconsistent across visits. These icons up in the upper right-hand corner enable e-monitoring. This allows for query management, the creating and resolution of queries. Notice that since we're in as the monitor, they cannot modify the data, and the record is read-only. So here, let's say the heart rate is, please review for accuracy. We can create quick queries. These are standard text queries, or we can create custom queries. So here, the monitor is opening a query, and please check for consistency with other visits. And we can apply the action. And now notice that the icon did change to designate that there is a query on this field. The other ability with e-monitoring here is the approval of a form. So roles such as the investigator, where the PI needs to sign off on a form, or where monitors need to source verify forms, this is where they would apply their approvals. So here the monitor would click on that, and then they can apply their approval. We can designate whether or not passwords are required for setting approvals, either for monitors or investigators. One of the nice functionalities with MedNet is the reporting capability. So we'll take a look at the adverse event dashboard, which has several reports. There's an AE report, there's a trending report, a count of serious AEs, and the relationship to study medication. So we'll go ahead and view the dashboard here. So it's a nice way to aggregate a lot of your data. So here the monitors can see all of the AEs that have occurred for their sites. Here on the right-hand side, we have a serious AEs report, so we can do a count of how many serious AEs have occurred across the entire study. So in this particular case, we have 204 non-serious events, six serious events. Now we can change how this is displayed. So here we can customize if we want a pie chart. Down below here, we can see adverse event trending. So over time, when these AEs began, we can see that the counts for cumulative count, monthly averages, cumulative averages. So these are some of the reporting capabilities. And you can set the range, if you want it to group by quarter, by month, by year, which fields the reports are running off of, and how the graphs are displayed again, once again. So note that these dashboards can be created for the sponsor, and we can create a number of different dashboards if you want to track and trend different things. We can track enrollment this way. We can track AEs, medications, SAEs, pretty much any data field or forms that you want to track, we can generate a report for and display in these types of formats and dashboards. One last function within iMedNet that is pretty neat is the ability for the sponsors to download their own data sets. So here we'll switch roles to the sponsor role, and going through the iMenu, um, sponsors can access data sets on demand. It's basically creating your own extracts, and the user can specify what format they want the data sets in and how much data they want. So here, format of choice is typically SAS. Then we can also do Excel and comma separated files. The data sets will display once they're completed loading, and you can extract by site only or by patient only. So here all the data sets have loaded, so there are descriptions here as to what they are. Any reports that have been created within the system, you can also extract via a SAS data set if you choose, and you can do it again by site. So here we'll extract adverse events for this particular site, and just simply hit download, and the system will package everything for you. And as you can see, it occurs fairly quickly. Click retrieve, and it'll ask you for where to download, where to save it, and you can open the zip file to access the data sets that you requested. One more quick thing I wanted to mention as well is in any of these dashboards, so we'll go back to the monitor role as they had a couple extra dashboards. Uh, we can export any of these reports from this field as well, or this view. They have export buttons at the bottom of the report. And again, we can export just what you see on the screen, all pages, and either into Microsoft Excel or XML files. I'll show you what this would look like. And here is your AE report, the first 20 records. And this concludes our iMedNet EDC system demo. Thank you for your time.